Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest to Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's an absolute honor to welcome a truly inspiring and intuitive guest, Jacqueline Young. From the boardroom to the healing room, Jacqueline has journeyed through burnout, breakdown to now serving as a transformational mind shift coach. That's really important, mind shift, which I'm definitely looking forward to exploring more about. Hypnotherapist and guide for professionals ready to release emotional pain and reclaim their potential. A retired CEO who now helps others unlock their unconscious wisdom within, Jacqueline is a voice of compassion, clarity, and courage in a time when many are seeking deeper alignment. In today's episode, we'll explore her personal story, the power of hypnosis, and the subconscious healing mind, and what it means to lead from a place of integration, intuition, and inner peace. I am so excited to welcome her. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
You are so welcome. Wow, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like you have so much that I just want to ask about. I guess straight away, I always love to, not just honor what you're doing, but also how it came about, because I think we all have that story. Like, we have multiple routes that we can pick. So how did this all come about?
Yeah. You know what? I never, about 10 years ago, saw myself doing this whatsoever. My entire career space had been in education, which I deeply, deeply love. It was very much a calling. I was that kid in grade 4 who said I wanted to be a teacher. And so I went into teaching and then became a special ed teacher, a consultant. I went on to become a principal, then a superintendent. And my last job was as a CEO of a school board. So I ran a school board in Ontario, Canada. And it wasn't a job that I ever saw myself doing. But as I continued to move through my path, I enjoyed this sphere of influence that I knew that I could have in really changing things and being that kind of change agent. I believe in servant leadership, so I love to be able to kind of spread that as a thesis also. And I believe truly that I left places much better than when I first went in, and that was always a bit of my calling. And then through a number of unfortunate situations and circumstances, things between myself and my board were not going well. And I'll simply leave it at that, because everyone has these kinds of situations where all of a sudden things that were really cooking with gas, something happens, and I was, in my estimation, being asked to make decisions that were against my ethos. And I'm sure for them, they thought that I was no longer the employee that they had hired. So, we kind of came to a fork in the road. But what I didn't realize was that my body, under the stress of being asked to do something that was truly against my grain, was taking a toll. So I was dealing with migraines and vertigo. I put on about 50 pounds. And there was a lot of things that my body was trying to address with me. Now, I knew that I wasn't doing well, but I went to my doctor. My doctor said, you can no longer work. And I said, oh, okay, well, I was here because I was hoping for maybe a couple of days off. So if you can write that. And she said, no, Jackie, you can never go back to work at this place. So the lovely thing about this incredible doctor of mine was that she recognized that, yes, it was me, but it was me in a set of circumstances. And so it was, you can work, no problem, but you can't work under the confines. It was very powerful.
Because I don't think, sorry to interrupt your story, but I don't think often, because I just think that's really important what you've just said there. And it's not making an assumption, but I actually think that's very rare to hear. So I'm really happy that you gain that advice. Sorry, I just felt like that was really important, that if someone is getting that feeling of like, I'm not sure what it is, but I just feel like that's not the answer. listen to your body. It's not saying that this person is saying anything wrong. They're saying at the I believe the consciousness and the level that they maybe know and think. But always, if you feel something in your body, go get a second opinion or something. So sorry, I just felt like I just really wanted to emphasize that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. And it's one of the reasons why I keep pointing this out when I do tell my story, because yes, I was broken 100%. And you realize in looking back how broken you actually were. But what I loved about the way that she incorporated that was you're broken because of where you are, because of the situation around you. And you have still a zest for life and a wonderful ability to continue to work, but you cannot work there. And that was mind boggling to me. But also, I never would have thought about leaving because it felt like a failure. And I, like probably most of your listeners, was an overachiever and a bit of a people pleaser. And, I really was kind of lost in what I was filtering as my true north until she said it. And then it was like, oh my gosh, like talk about a penny dropping. It dropped literally through my entire body. To wrap this up even quicker though, what happened was then COVID hit. And I had another job right after that, which was great. And then COVID hit. And there were a number of things that happened, but what I wanted to do was try to figure out my sensibility in terms of a reset. And every single path that I went through, which started with brain and neuroplasticity because of my work in brain research with special education. So I had always kept up with brain research and what was happening. But every time I looked at brain research and neuroplasticity, it kind of kicked me over into understanding what the mind is capable of and understanding that the mind and the brain are two totally different entities. Oh. And so I really started going down these rabbit holes, which all led me to hypnosis and hypnotherapy, which I never, ever saw myself doing. Wow. And then once I took a course, and I was lucky because the person I took a course with was phenomenal, and I got my credentials, and then I got my master credentials, and it is the most powerful work, transformational work that I have ever been involved in. And I've been involved in like a lot of work. So it's interesting to be able to say that and, to be able to truly bear witness to what it can do for people.
Wow, there's so much that you've just said there. And just to not go back too much to it, but I think this, just because this is a theme, not only in my own life, but in other guests' lives that I've noticed, which I think is just really important to mention sometimes, because I think particularly when people are in those maybe uncomfortable situations where, as we can see from the other side, maybe someone played that big bad, role at that point in our life. I think even though when we're going through it, we have to just honor the way we are feeling and the journey that we are on. And yeah, no normal person is going to be like, oh, I know what's happening here. This is going to be great. No, of course not. But what I've really noticed is those people that play those key parts, because someone could literally say exactly the same thing and it's like, who are you? Or, why are you commenting on my life? But it's almost like the unfolding of it has to be that person that you, whether it's a relationship or a job, you gave your full heart to, you gave your time, your commitment, you maybe pleased them, whatever it was. And it has to almost be, I like to think, that like nutcracker, because otherwise then you would not be now at this incredible position you're in. And I just want people to, even though I know we're talking on the other side and it could be like, oh, it's so much easier to say when this is now happening in your life. But I just want to give people a little bit of hope and understanding that sometimes when these things happen in our lives, it's not always because it's to destroy or cause, permanent damage or chaos. Often I feel like, and I would love your take on this, when we're not in alignment or when it's kind of like coming to an end, personal, professional, we get a little shaking up. And when we don't really listen, we get another really a little bit more of a push. And then, unfortunately, sometimes, whether it's health, whether it's loss of something, we get kind of something that is really going to almost take us to our knees and make us go, wake up.
Yeah.
And so I also honor and respect that you said it in the most beautiful way, of like, not being on the other side of like blaming or anything, because we also know that like these people, key people, come into our lives to up level us. We don't see it at the time,
Hmm.
and we will still get them even now on our journey, or be a client or something else. So I just wanted to just really honor what you said there. So thank you so much. And if you want to add anything to that, feel free.
I think that you've touched on a number of points that are embedded in the business that I do now, because one of the things that I want to do is catch people in their 30s, mostly
Mm.
women, because women are more open to kind of this thing, whereas men can sometimes shut down. And that's a gross generalization, but I'm going to go with it.
No, yeah.
Um, Part of the conditioning that we have is to always scan as women and kind of take care of everyone else. And it's very rare that we kind of say, wait a minute, what's going on with me? But
Mm.
one of the things that I want for people to pay attention to is when you have that slow simmering rage or resentment, but you don't even know why. And
Mm.
that's your body being, to your point, dysregulated. Like you're really out of alignment. There's something that is wrong. And the phrase that I use in my course is leakage. You know,
Mm.
there's always your body trying to tell you, whether it's, you can't get rid of a cold, or you have some like migraines like I did, or like my sugar addiction just went into haywire
Wow.
and took over. And unless you start paying attention to that, your body, to your point, will bring you to your knees. And
Yeah.
there is like the leakage, like it really is. It will stop you in your tracks. My kind of mission is to get people way before that happens to say, wait a
Beautiful.
minute, how you know what it feels like to be in alignment, but you must be quiet and
Mm.
peaceful for even 10 minutes a day to be able to kind of click in with yourself and say, okay, well, where am I? And I know that sounds crazy, like that sounds like the big woo woo, and I'm not talking about meditation
No,
because I
I
can't
hear you.
meditate at all. Like I'm shitty at meditating. But this is a very, very different exercise, and it's extremely powerful because you start to realize whether you are comfortable with yourself,
Hmm.
comfortable in your own skin, or not at all. And if you are uncomfortable, A, with silence, and B, with yourself, then there's work to do. There,
Yeah.
quite clearly, there's work to do. That's as simple as it is. So whether you see someone that you want to talk to, or a hypnosis expert, or someone who has a different avenue by which you can kind of tap into yourself, that's when you want to start in your 30s, not necessarily when you're 55 or when you're 60, but you really want to start gaining that sense of control and understanding the mind, body, and spirit need for alignment.
Mm.
Because if you don't, well, let me put it this way, if you do, you're that much further ahead in the race than if you don't. So all of a sudden, making decisions at work becomes easier. You have more patience for your kids. You
Yeah.
treat yourself with a sense of kindness that you may not have been brought up with, but you learn to appreciate who you are. You learn to be courageous in ways that are different and might be difficult, but are well worth, the kind of journey that we talk about all the time. And so again, like
Yeah.
what I'm really trying to do is whoever's listening in their, late 20s, 30s, 40s, start tapping into what's really happening through your body and through your mind. And when you're quiet, where do your thoughts take you? And pay attention. Be
Yeah.
curious about that.
I really love that, because even just sometimes the conversations we have with our friends,
Yeah.
and it's almost like we somehow gaslight ourselves, because we feel this feeling, and then we almost are programmed to discard it, of like, oh, okay, no, maybe I'm being no, no, stop. Regardless of whether someone else thinks that, that is how you feel. So I
Yeah.
100% hear everything you're saying, because um I think and whether we're too sensitive to this, it doesn't matter. We're all different. And as you beautifully said, we all we all don't have a one and done or a tick list because we're all very different. So for example, and I kind of really liked how you said that, I can't remember the word before it, but the simmering rage or the slow rage, or
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is really important because I think also not only health, which you beautifully identified, but also it could be that snarky comment that you then feel like, oh, why do I keep doing this? This feels ugly to me.
Yeah.
This feels like disgusting. But I don't know why, but I'm getting into this either culture or this way of just being like, huh, or just pulling faces or something. And it's like realistically, that's something much deeper because that's something of like almost, oh, this has been done before, or you've done this before. And then again, we go back to almost gaslighting ourselves of like, oh, do you know what? Maybe I'm tired, or maybe it's because of this time or this time of the month that is really,
Yeah.
really like,
Yeah.
ugh. Um, so thank you so much for highlighting that. And I agree with you because I remember there was a time when I heard about even the pause, okay? Pause. And I was like, what on earth is a pause going to do to support me? Oh, it has transformed my life. Let's just put it that way. And
Yeah.
yeah, especially when I am that high emotion and or put in a high emotion situation or pressurized situation where I feel like someone's almost like you need this now, and if you don't say yes now, I'm going to take it away. The
Mm.
moment I feel like that, even if it sounds like the most amazing golden ticket, I say stop. Whoa, 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 stop. Because that's the thing at the moment, it's words, or okay, it might be a written contract, whatever, but often it's a quick conversation of, right, you need to tell me this by the end of today. Yeah, you in or you out? Well, can you
Yeah.
send me? Well, just think about it. And it's like that pressure, and it's like
Hmm.
stop, 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 because actually if this really, really is a two-way thing and it's going to be for the highest good of ourselves, why do I only have a countdown and then it's almost like boom, it's gone? Like,
Yeah.
do you really want me, or like, or whatever the situation is? Or is this like you don't want me to know too much about what's going to unfold? So, no,
Right.
I'm not saying it's always going to be a negative because we want to also appreciate that things that enter our lives do enter our lives for really great reasons. But I think if you have that, what you said, which I love, that like almost intuition that often, and it's not again generalizing, but as women really have that, I feel like has been kind of like suppressed a little and told like, no, you need to use your mind or whatever it is. But I think it's just really important, regardless of whatever you think, just there's something right now, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to just take a little time for me, which is how I hear what you
Hmm.
said. So please correct me if I'm not saying it correctly. And I'm just going to actually maybe just see how it unfolds a little bit without
Hmm.
rushing the decision or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
that was something for me that I really love that you said that has completely changed my life. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it really does. I think you've hit on a really key point. And one of the things that I'm going to do with what you said and kind of build on it is let people know what actually is happening in their mind. So, as a hypnotist, I
Mm,
work with the mind, particularly the unconscious mind. And what I have become aware of is where we are in our brain waves. So we're right now that we are having a conversation that's lovely and we are just kind of in a particular brainwave. If we
mm,
get nice and relaxed, then you are opening up more creativity and creativity of thought. So, where I
mm,
take people is into a theta brainwave state, which
mm,
is just before you drop into delta, which is sleep. So, I don't want you asleep because we're actually talking, but I want your conscious mind to kind of be drifting away so that I can get into the juicy details of your unconscious mind, because
mm,
therein lies all your answers. And I want to give your listeners a little bit of something that they can relate to right away. So, when you are with someone and you're having a conversation, you can't find that word or you can't find that idea, and you're grinding through it, like you're really trying to figure it out and you're working hard, you never get it. And then you're
Mm.
showering or you're brushing your teeth. It's like, oh my God, there it is. There it is. That's perfect. The
Yeah.
reason that happens is because you've kind of opened up your state of mind to be able to have that sense of creativity. You're not in theta, you're not where I take you, but you're in a
Mm.
lovely, lovely state where you are more open to being able to get a download. And that download is from yourself, but you're not grinding to figure it
Mm.
out. It's like, oh my gosh, there's the name. So I'll say to people, if you really want to build in some really heavy duty problem solving time in a day, which you should, then you want to figure out where that time is for you. So is it gardening? Is it when you're walking the dog? Is it
Mm.
when you are in the car ride home from work to home? But what you have to do is allow for the silence. So if you're always filling up the silence, if you get in and you turn on the radio or you start making calls, which is what I used to do, then you disallow yourself that download to be able to just kind of drift into your mind.
Wow.
When you're gardening, that's when you can really just have these lovely little downloads of wonderment because you're doing a repetitive motion, brushing your teeth, washing your hair. Something that doesn't take any real thought allows for your mind to just kind of cascade through the thoughts of the day or
Mm.
figuring it out. So when I was a principal, I used to take my dog for a walk at midnight every night. And we would just have the best time, whether it was, snowing or raining or whatever. And I didn't realize it until I was doing this work that every single night I ran through the day and I solved all the issues in the day in a
Wow.
half-hour walk with my dog because I was just walking the dog and I was just allowing my thoughts to wander. And then it was like, oh, I bet if I say this to so and so, that would be good tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I have to remember that to do this, and this. But it wasn't in a grinding state. It
Yeah.
wasn't, like kind of killing myself to get to the answer. They just kind of floated in. And that's what happens when you are nice and relaxed. So if you
Yeah.
carve that into your day, just think about how once you know how the mechanism of it works, how much problem solving you'll be able to do in terms of gaining answers and information that you didn't even know that you had.
Thank you so much. And this is a big thing that I really try my best to do as well, which I love that you've just done that. Because with the introduction and then we talk about intuition and then we're talking about this. And I think, people can straight away put almost people into a category. And I really almost like get so about this spiritual and non-spiritual, this and this.
Yes.
We're not any category. We are just us. Okay, we might see something. We go down this little rabbit hole, whatever we want to call it. We all have our weird things. I don't care what anyone says. Nobody is like whatever this straight lace normal person is supposed to be. And if so, please tell me what this criteria is because I've not met anyone who is exactly the same as anyone else. But just because maybe someone does this and it's like I don't really understand that, so that's why that's weird to me because that's what it generally is it's like I always remember like gemstones, sorry to just go off topic, but it just really makes me laugh. And I remember this comedian saying like yeah, my girlfriend collects stones. And it was just so funny. And it was like, yeah, she holds them and it's like, this one is for love and this one's this. And it's like, is she right? She's holding a stone and she's saying, this is for love. Is she really a horrible person? Who cares? He still loves her. Like, just because you don't always understand what someone does. But then look now, he's almost made a career out of being in a relationship with her because he doesn't understand her and he uses his certain way of thinking and it's very different to her way, which, like they say, it then works. Whereas, if we're all churned out the same, wouldn't it be such a boring world? So I don't know where that came from, but I just felt like I just really want to share that. To go back to what you said about it, just you're absolutely like such a relatable example, which people will go like, yeah, or in the shower, washing your hair. And it's like, it literally is that. And it's really interesting you said that because actually, not necessarily before, but usually after a podcast, I go for a walk because I unwind. I almost replay what we've just spoke about, because I also know that I'm in this moment right now, and when I actually watch them back, I'm now the audience, because right now I am listening so intently to you, and I know I never used to do this. I'd be waiting to speak, and this is why I wanted this podcast not to have pre-planned questions. And I'm not saying the people that do that, but it's a certain way I used to be, of waiting. Okay, when she stops moving her mouth or pauses, I can now ask her the question. And then it's like, it doesn't marry up.
No connection.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to listen and respect this woman and her knowledge and her expertise and the person she is, not just what her impact, the incredible person she is. And you know what? That's why if I go down this way now, that's because that's the way we're supposed to be going down. If I go down this way now, it's perfect to the conversation we're having. So thank you so much for making it relatable, because I think sometimes, again, we can actually all say exactly the same thing, but it's the wording we use. And just by that wording, you could have so many people check out. And it's like, sometimes we just need to speak the language of everybody. Like, go for a walk. You slow
Yeah.
down, you're breathing, you are taking in the beautiful environment, you're having that gorgeous time. If you have an animal or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Looking at the trees, looking at the sun, or whatever it is, and you just take some time for you. And I really want to emphasize as well, and this again is not like a condition or you have to, but what I also would love your take on is, maybe don't always have that music playing, or if it's going to be quite stimulating and a lot of vocals or words, maybe just, even if it's just 5 minutes, just, or sit there and just take in the view, just have that quiet pause time to just really let your mind not be overstimulated and think and breathe and relax. So I really love that you mentioned all that. Thank you.
Yeah, coming back full circle to that again, it's, if you have to always have the noise, a cacophony of noise, then I want for people to ask, well, why is that? And if it is, like, well, I just really like the noise because I'm an extrovert. Okay, well, there's something to that. I understand that for sure. But if you are uncomfortable with silence and uncomfortable with yourself, then I am going to suggest quite pointedly, you might want to kind of just reach out to someone and say, I'd like to explore this, because I don't, like, do you know yourself well enough so that you can be silent and trickling with your thoughts in a way that is either productive or sweet, or just reminiscing on something? Like, just allow your brain, your mind to go where it goes, and then just kind of say, isn't that interesting? Like, I wonder where that came from, but I really loved that. The other thing that I want to just kind of mention is, there is something about choosing to live a positive life. So again, I mean, whether you want to call it spirituality, whether you want to call it mindset or mind shifting or whatever, I don't care what words you use. But there is something to pay attention to in terms of, what is your default. If your default is victimization, then you're going to have a very hard time with what's going on in the world right now.
Yes.
If, on the other hand, you recognize that I am a person, I have agency, I can speak for myself, I have voice, I have passion, like, yes, I can see everything that's going around and it's concerning to me, I need to pay attention, but I also recognize where I fit into all of what's going on. So I can have voice, I can have agency, I can choose to do this or that, which is very different than complaining all the time and coming from a place of pure victimization. I can't do anything. This is the way it's always been. Government is always like this. Whatever it is, if you have phrases that you go back to that are victim mentality, you need to pay attention, because the energy that you are surrounding yourself in is going to make your life really challenging.
Yeah. I can, and I'll openly admit to that, I can 100% relate to both of your examples. So even if I had an intense day and I knew I needed to just literally have silence, I think because of at the time, my particular mindset and the things victim and cynical and lots of, poor me mentality in my mind. And we are not judging anyone, by the way, but I know
Mhm.
that that was a very, very strong, deep version of me that I thought everybody had these thoughts, these horrible, ugly, nasty, like really judgmental thoughts in their mind. I used to get in, and even if I knew that I was already overstimulated, I would reach for that food or put that music on and almost like just always be in this kind of frenzy or message that person, try and get out the house. And I could
Yeah.
not sit with myself. And I don't even know how this happened, but the moment I actually started really painting and
Oh.
sitting with myself, and it's
Mm.
really ironic because all the paintings actually were my transformation. And that was when I really started listening to my thoughts and being like, and at first I was really like, this is not nice, this is not nice, this is not nice. And then I started just watching them, observing them, like what you said, and being like, okay, I know this doesn't make me feel good, but would I tell myself something that didn't make me feel good? So I started kind of just questioning them. And
Mm.
then, and please bear in mind, everybody, this is not like step one to step two. This is like a roller coaster. This is
It
like
is
one
indeed.
day, I'm like, this is not a nice thought. And then another day, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm such a horrible person. Like, please know that this is, and still, even now, I have to take a moment. I have to pause and
Yeah.
say, hold on a second here. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is not being kind to me. This is not something I would say to someone else. So why on earth would I think that about myself right now? You can do
Yeah.
it, Shelley. Get up and get on with it. Basically. um,
Absolutely.
so thank you so much for that. So what that kind of like, not only the mind, which is so powerful, and actually, could you just because this was something really really, really profound that you said right at the start, and it's just come into my head now. But when you said about I just like a little bit more information on it, but when you said about the mind and I hope I said it right, the mind and the brain actually not being the same. I
Mhm.
would love to just know a little bit more about that because I think I understand what you meant, but I just want to just make sure I'm really clear on that.
Absolutely. The funny thing is that when we talk about the mind, we'll say things like, I have to change my mind, or it's mind over matter, or we have all of these sayings and we all kind of accept that we understand what we're talking about. But when I say to my clients, well, where is your mind? It's a question
Mm.
that people kind of go, well, it's my brain. Well, is it my brain? And then some people will say it's my whole body. It's like my spirit is
Mm.
my mind. And so it's a curious question because it's not your brain. It is part of a thinking behavioral process. And then to try to figure out what's going on in the mind versus what's going on in the brain is really interesting. So we know that, for instance, we can fire off things in the brain because we can use a functional MRI and put electrodes on and see what's firing through visualization. So we can take an Olympic athlete and have them visualize an entire repertoire of exercises that they would normally do. And their brain will fire exactly in the same spaces and places that it does as if they are actually engaged in the exercise. So
Wow.
if you are an athlete and you're off season, one of the things that we'll always tell people to do is you visualize everything because your muscle memory is attached to your brain, is attached to your mind, is it all kind of works together. When you understand what the mind does and how it works for you. Number one, what I'll say is it's a construct. So we're not cutting into your mind. We can cut into your
Mm.
brain. We can't cut into your mind per se. So it's a construct. But one of the things that we've learned is all the stuff that came out of, like the early 1900s and Freud and everything else. There's now we know that the constructs and the theories have turned into being truth because of what we're able to now map out.
Mm.
So the idea that our cognitive mind, our conscious mind, is where all the power lies is not exactly correct. You actually
Mm.
are, the mind itself is, if we say that it's made up of the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. So I'll use subconscious and unconscious interchangeably. Other people do not like the term sub because they don't want that particular part of the mind to be sub to anything else. It's the most important part. Some people will see it as the conscious mind, then the subconscious, then the unconscious, going deeper. So it really depends on the theorist that you're speaking to and the practitioner. But for my purposes, I'm going to keep it nice and simple and just think of an iceberg, and the 10% above the waterline is your
Mm,
conscious. So the 90% that's below the waterline is your unconscious mind. That is a lot of real estate
yes.
that you usually are not even aware of. The reason that I can have someone quit smoking in one visit is because we finally align what they want in their conscious mind with the messaging that has to drop into and the reality of what's happening in the
Wow.
unconscious mind. And so once you've got that alignment in place, then, kind of Bob's your uncle, which is one of the reasons I will joke and say this is the worst business model there is, because I usually don't see people more than twice for a particular
Wow.
situation.
Wow,
Yeah. So
though.
whether it's childhood trauma or PTSD or, quitting an addiction or whatever, and my results are pretty firm with a lot of other people's. I'm
Yeah.
I'm talented, but I'm also but hypnosis works that well. And the beauty is that no hypnotist will take on someone who says, well, I kind of want to play with this. I kind of want to maybe get rid of the childhood fear. Well, then no, don't come to me. Because unless you
Mm,
are absolutely driven to get over your fear of flying, then it's not going to work. I need to know that your conscious mind is absolutely guaranteed in line with what you want. And then we talk to the unconscious mind and explain what it wants, like what you want and why it's making it really hard to work with. So your willpower
gosh,
is in
wow.
your conscious mind. That's only 10%. So once you got your willpower in line with what you truly want and you can figure it out at the unconscious level, then like I say, like you're cooking with gas, you really are, because it makes
Wow.
things easy. And the next day, people will say, I'm not even thinking about a cigarette, or like, this is so weird. Like, or I'll think about one, but I don't have a craving. I just think, oh, isn't that interesting? Like I can see it from afar and I have no interest in it. So the mind
Wow.
is an incredible thing. And what we're learning even more, like my particular brand is about education and empowerment. So I do go back to the science. I do go back to moving it out of the woo-woo and into, no, this is why it
Beautiful.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is why
beautiful.
you're able to have this. I don't do anything except act as your guide. You have all of the answers already in your unconscious mind, and your unconscious mind wants to help you. That it has one purpose. It is to help you do what you want to do. But
Mm,
the way that it maneuvers and comes to conclusions are based on your history, your trauma, the way that you interacted with the world when you were 3. So, for instance, I'll say, like, I'm a child of an alcoholic. And so I learned without even having the words about freeze and fawn. So I never wanted to be kind of
mm,
around that energy when things were going down. So I would take myself away and I would freeze and fawn. So
yeah.
I brought that same response into confrontations in my marriage. Not good.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
good. And no fault of
Yeah.
my husband's at all. Like I
No.
would just, okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. And I'm like a freaking outspoken woman, as you can probably see. Like I had a,
Mm,
a high powered job. But the idea of going back to a trauma response is what we all do unless we take the time to figure out how it's imploding our lives or how it's impeding our progress.
wow. And that all like I'm just like connect of course it does, but like connecting the dots now because it makes
Yeah.
sense about the pause because again, like we don't even need to sell like you are just like someone is just going to instantly know. They're going to listen to this and just be like I already instantly know. Like it's just a yes and it's just a no. And like what I just said, sorry, what you just said, sorry, what you just said.
You can claim
Don't
it.
know where that came from. It is a two-way thing. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a like, let's see if she really can, hey? She really can help me stop smoking. No, 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 no. No, this is not what we're talking about because guess what? Which I would love your perspective on. Our mind also loves to collect evidence of that. So if that's the kind of intention we're putting out, then guess what? You're going to have a lot more of that. And then actually, who truly is the winner in the situation?
Yeah.
So I think, I think 100% it has to be like I can even think about things in my life and I can like a pattern and it's like, oh,
Yes.
interesting. Why does that keep coming back around? And although I do a lot with my subconscious mind and I'm aware about the power of words and things like that, there's still sometimes that element. And it even went into one of these things where it was like counting down to 10. And I really love that I'm having this conversation with you right now because I'm particularly someone, back to what you said earlier about meditation, who I'm kind of like, but I'll dance and I will get so many thoughts, so many, it will
Yeah.
just, I
Yeah.
will do art, I'll get so many, I'll go for a walk. And I think it's really important that we understand that meditation isn't eyes closed, up in an upright, position in yoga. I think that kind of is what people think meditation means. And it's not. That's okay. Okay. Some people might call it that, but it doesn't mean that that's the only way to meditate. So I really love that you've said about that because I still know, as we all have, when we're not perfect. It's the whole point of life. Sorry, just get a drink of water. Um, I'm impressed though because I wasn't expecting that to happen. So it's been okay. Is excuse me. Um, is that I know there's still some things in my mind and it does like what you say, it plays out in our life, in the people we meet, in the opportunities that come to us. And although I've seen so many incredible changes, I also know that when we are making particularly a big transition in our life, there's naturally going to be it's almost like I always see it as like a very overprotective parent that's like, no honey, no honey, listen, every month you get this money and you have your home, you have this, what are you going to do for this, what are you going to do for this? And I feel like even though I know what I'm doing, I believe in me, I can feel that in the background being like, whether I'm talking to people or not, I know that that's kind of sometimes playing. And I know that that is then going to be like, see, looking for evidence. See, I told
Yeah.
you. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop you.
Yeah.
Thank you, but you're not helpful right now. So
Yep.
thank you so much for bringing that up because it just shows, even though you quite honestly said about it is almost like because you are so incredible and you do know what you're doing, that is kind of like a high buy. um that's also I feel shows your integrity because
Mm.
you could easily be like, okay, well we're going to and obviously I don't know the procedure and that, but you could drag it out, couldn't you? You could drag it out. But I also can feel, which is why maybe we had that alignment of like the heart center of
Yeah.
actually, you know, is it, well, quantity and quality actually, because you know what you're doing. You will know instantly whether that person really is wanting to change that aspect of their life. And because they do, and you know how to do it, of course it's going to win. Of course it's not win. Of course it's going to
Yeah.
happen. Of course it's going to align because there's a strong belief on both parts. You fully know what that person wants. They fully know what
Yeah.
they want. It's a done deal, isn't it? So I really love that you mentioned that. And for me, I see it very different. I actually see it as how many incredible people you are going to transform their lives. Because,
Mm.
okay, we could have this client for years and years and years, but there's also like a loving, like, you need to go. You have the power inside of you and step into your power. You've
Yeah.
got this. So whether that's one session, that's 20 sessions, it doesn't matter because
Hmm.
you are
Yeah.
always, because of you changing that incredible person's life, they are going to tell everyone, or people are going to be like, hold on a second. You were smoking yesterday. What's happened? Oh, wow. Du-du-du-du. So you're always going to be having so many people enter your life.
Hmm.
Like, I think it's
Yeah.
amazing. I think it's amazing.
It really is. It's been one of the most profound things that I have found myself doing. And it's funny because I'll say to people, I am good at this. I know I'm good at this. I have a background in counseling. I have a master's in counseling. All of my work all through schooling was in regards to counseling kids and parents and et
Mm,
cetera. So it's not outside the realm, but this is profound in terms of recognizing that I have a belief in myself, but I believe even more in your capacity for your unconscious mind to
that's
release the knowledge
beautiful.
that you have. I don't have all of the stuff that's going on in your life. You do. And so all I'm able to do is kind of act as that GPS to figure out the best route to get to where it is that you want to be able to uncover something. And the beautiful thing about hypnosis, or the way that I do it, is that if you're going back to a childhood memory, because I've had people say to me, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. And I'll say, well, you decide. I don't decide. I'm not,
Mm,
my job is not to make you uncomfortable. My job is to help you move through something and get to a place of healing, not forgiveness, but healing. And that's another important thing. I don't want anyone to feel like, well, you're going to tell me I have to, forgive my abuser. No, not at all.
oh,
If you
yeah,
want
that's
to, I'll be here to help you with that. But
beautiful.
that's not where I take you whatsoever. You get to decide whether that feeling is helping you or keeping you back. And therein lies again your power. You either release
Mm,
it or you choose not to release it, but it's your choice, not mine. So
mm.
that option of you being the one that's fully in control is really important because people hear hypnosis and they think, everybody, you're going to make me cluck like a chicken. Yes, you're not the
Yeah.
first person to ask me that. Everybody asks me that. No, I get nothing out of that, of course.
I think that's so, thank you so much for bringing that up because again, I know that people would definitely be listening to this and being like, wow, so there's two things. There was one thing that I wanted to ask about, and I love what you just said there. With just regards to what you just said there, that's super important because from what my understanding of it is, it's not like a come in, okay, I want to quit smoking, right? It's like this. I feel like what you said, you really want to know what is your intention, how are you going to feel about this? And then like take into consideration like what you say about the worries people have, the concerns they have, and that's your integrity. That's like this is not a like, okay, I know the quick way and I don't care regardless. It's not about us, it's about the other person.
Yeah.
So I really, really love that you brought that up because I think that will
Oh,
give
thank
people
you.
also, because again, it's that uncertainty, but then there's that
Yeah.
inner knowing of like, but then I really want to explore this more, but there's something, and of course, everything's going to be naturally a little what like scary. Like even when you decide to do a skydive, you're not like, whoopee, let's go do a skydive. Like, come on. Wow, some people might, but um, so like with everything, I think we need to remember it's everything in life. And the second thing, just that I know that I would love to know, so definitely must be on other people must want to know this, particularly as we are so globally connected, which is such a beauty. Um, I guess there'll be people like, is it most effective in person or can it be online? Like, I think this is really important things that we need to be aware of and discuss because I kind of feel like I know what you're going to say, but I just would love to hear you say it.
Well, what's interesting is that my entire business is online.
Yeah.
So I have international clients and my training was online. So I have, like, if someone came into my office, I would know what to do with them because
Yeah.
everything that I do is online. Now, the beauty of that is, yes, it works as well, if not better, because you don't have to come to my office. You don't have to go downtown. You don't have to put on nice clothes. You don't have to worry if you're going to be late. I mean,
Mm.
aside from Zoom. Literally, I'll say to people, I'm a nighthawk, so I'm up usually till about 2 in the morning. So if you want to do this before you go to bed, that works really nicely for me. And then you
Mm.
just drift into the most perfect sleep you've had because you're in your PJs, you're in your favorite chair or a recliner or bed. And I mean, I work with all of that. And as soon as we start talking, I'm starting to gather information and recognize that your unconscious mind is listening. So, to the point that you made earlier on, your unconscious mind is listening to every single thing that happens. You
Yeah.
walk into a room and you kind of think, oh, it feels like these people were talking about me. And they probably were, because your unconscious mind is scanning everything, not only what it
Yeah.
hears, but what it senses, what it understands. So not only their five senses, but also that, kind of intuitive, oh, my skin feels prickly sense is also part of your unconscious mind gaining information. And then what your mind does with that information is what's impressive or can hold you back. So if you know that you were talked about a lot as a kid, if you were held,
Mm.
in secret, like your parents never explained anything to you, and you always felt like you were waiting for another shoe to drop because no one explained anything to you, then you'll go right back to that particular feeling if you walk in a room and people you recognize were talking about you. Then you automatically go back to when you were 5 or 3. And it's
Yeah.
that sense of, I don't know what happened, but I feel really uncomfortable and I don't feel safe. So that's the word that I want to spend some time with, because that's our modus operandus, that gratitude and love. But if you do not feel safe, then you
Mm.
are going to parlay that into being at the extreme of what your unconscious mind is doing for you. So you will
Mm.
go to fight or flight. And your fight or flight, just like I explained a couple of minutes ago, will be whatever worked for you as a kid. I had a girlfriend who would throw a tantrum like you couldn't believe in her 40s, in her 50s, because it worked when she was 5. She never had to
Wow.
learn a different way of coping other than exploding. So hers was fight out of nowhere kind of.
Mm.
And so you recognize again, like you're always looking for patterns in yourself before your spouse. Don't do it to your spouse before you do it to yourself. And looking for, okay, so where do I take myself and what is that based on? What's kind of the work that I need to do because I don't like it. If you
Mm.
don't like your fight or flight response, then you need to do some work, and it's good fun work. It always feels more empowering on the other side of it.
I love that so much, and I can again really relate to that because yeah, and something someone really told me, which was really profound, is in those moments, say where you walk in, you're like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like these people are talking about me. They say this like you play this game of, yeah, but what about if it was the most amazing conversation about you and all the incredible things you're doing? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, now that feels good in my body. That feels
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Even if
That's true.
again you seem delusional, who cares? But again, it goes back to that. Oh, why do we always think it's negative? Why do we, you
Yeah.
know? And I know it's because of the feeling, like we're not going to be like discerning our thoughts and feelings and emotions. But I
Hmm.
just think actually people are going to talk anyway. So actually,
Absolutely.
why not think of it as in those moments where you are really just pouring into yourself, giving love to yourself, why not think of how the outcome you want to pick of like what would be the highest outcome in this situation? What would
Yeah.
actually make you feel good inside for now walking in that room? Are you going to want to sit uncomfortable now and be like, okay, do these people like me? Do they not like me? Or do you want to be like, of course they like me. Like, why wouldn't they like me? It just feels so
Yeah.
much better, doesn't it, in the body? And
Yeah.
then whether they like you or not, it's irrelevant. I feel like we get our
Yeah.
answer anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So I thank you so much. I feel like I could literally like I don't even think we've even touched on the surface of like all the amazing things you've done, you are doing and continue to do. And I know, I just know there's going to be obviously all your information I'm going to put in the description. And I know so many people are going to want to reach out to you because even me just speaking to you, I'm like, I need to learn more about this. This is amazing. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And really, thank you so much. And one thing that I always really like to ask my guests is just whether we want to say intuitively or whatever, if there was something right now that you just comes to your mind that you just feel someone listening right now would really, really benefit from hearing, what would you tell them?
Oh. What I would tell them, okay, so for those who don't identify as being spiritual, I would say just listen for a second. There is a wise part of you. There is a higher part of you. There is a part that has all the answers to all of the questions that you have. And we talked about that.
Mm,
The word that I have been starting to use, and it took me a while to be comfortable with the word because it feels so religious, and it's divinity. And
mm,
recognize that you have a sense of your own divinity. And that's what we've been talking about for the last, however long we've been talking. It's an understanding that you do have a true north. You do understand that you have come here for a purpose. And
mm,
if you are feeling purposeless, like a lot of people are right now, then let's do some work to try to figure out what that is. It doesn't hurt. It's really exciting, but to recognize that you actually have this part of you that just wants you to be the best you can be is amazingly powerful. And I'm just going to wrap up by saying, I just wrote something about this on LinkedIn actually. And it's about whenever I have someone in a beautiful trance and we talk to their highest self,
mm,
it inevitably is that the highest self says, I've got you. I've got you.
mm.
I've always been here for you. Let's just figure out a way that you can let me in more. But that I've got you is almost at least 80% of something that gets said from this particular beautiful part of your unconscious mind. And it's
Wow.
really incredible to see what happens to a person's face when they know that self-love is actually
Mm.
there. It's actually there waiting to
Yeah.
scoop them up and hold them tight and take care of that inner child and address all the fears. You have that part in you. And so, if not me, then find someone else that will be able to help you. Because once you gain that knowledge of, oh my gosh, I am a divine person, I am a divine being, I have divinity within me, regardless of what
Mm.
that means to you. Like, take the
Yeah.
woo woo, take the
Yeah.
religion out of it if you want to, but don't take the essence of something special out of it. And that's why I have come to say, no, it is divinity, damn it. And it's like the divinity for a divining rod that goes and finds water or go and finds mineral. It's that kind of
Beautiful.
divine to just point you in the right direction, just to listen to watch where it wants to take you, and to realize that that is in you. So, yeah, I think that that's probably the most powerful thing that I could leave people with.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And I really love that you went to the essence rather than the wording because there's something that I often really want people to think about is like, regardless of the words used, when you
Yeah,
just heard that, what did that feel in your body? Did that feel like,
yeah,
oh, I'm turning this off now. This is absolutely, no, it felt loving. It felt
yeah,
warm. It felt nurturing. And you know what?
yeah,
It felt like whether we, okay, use a different word. This is what we would say to someone we love. I've got you. Hey,
yeah,
hey, okay. Whether you agree or something you don't agree with what happened, okay, maybe that wasn't the best choice, but you know what? I'm still here for you because I love
yeah,
you. So if we can give that to another, then
yeah.
100% we should be giving that to ourselves. So thank you so,
100.
so
Yes.
much.
Thank you. Shel, this has been
Um,
a real delight. Thank you.
it's been such just an absolute honor and blessing to have you. And yeah, I'll definitely be wanting to contact you and find out more about this because it's it's just you just like what I said earlier, you just know in your body, particularly whether it's relationship, whether it's business, whether it's profession, if there's just something and again, I used to be, and the reason why I'm just really wanting to say this is I used to be someone that would be like, listen to someone and be like, okay, now I need to work out how to do this myself. No, we do have the key. We do have everything within us. But
Yeah.
sometimes actually coming together, uniting, seeing the incredible blessing of someone else and the skill of someone else and just actually allowing yourself to receive is so beautiful. So that's definitely a lesson that I've been learning because I would want to do that course or do this and work it all out, which I'm not saying again it's masculine or feminine, but that's very like action, action, action. Whereas no, sometimes we just need to rest into it. Okay, there's something here, I know a woman that can help me, or I know a man that
Mm.
can help me, or whoever. But right now,
Yeah.
this is a woman we're talking about. We're respecting this beautiful woman here. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're amazing. And I'm so happy we connected. And like with most people, I don't even feel like this is the first time I've ever spoke to you. Like I
I
just like
know.
I
Yes.
already know you, and it's just an absolute blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Jacqueline. You've been
It's been a
incredible,
joy.
and
Thank you.
yeah, I'm excited to find out more about all the incredible things you're doing. And just quickly, everybody, because I spoke about this to her before we came on, how beautiful is her logo? Sorry, I'm just going to put that out
Oh,
there. Your logo is so beautiful. It's so
thank
nice.
you.
And that will be
Thanks.
at the end of the podcast as well. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all your journey, your expertise, your wisdom, your knowledge, and your love, your absolute beautiful, divine love. Thank you so much. And wish
Thank
you
you
the
very
most
much.
beautiful day ahead.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.
Bye, Shel.
Bye.